Are you having a hard time getting the right sensitivity? Today, I'll go over the best settings and how to find your perfect sensitivity in Star Wars Battlefront 2. There's more to it than you may think. Welcome to episode 4 of Beginner's Guide, where my goal is to help new and struggling players improve their gaming experience. We're going to touch on how to set your starting sensitivity for Star Wars Battlefront 2. This gameplay is on the PlayStation 4, although this will work for every other platform. I did my best to not make this super boring, so bear with me, and it'll definitely help you if you're struggling. And if you're falling asleep, please wake up at the end for Can I Get Up There?, where we see what we can climb on top of. Sometimes it's useful, most of the time it's not, but it's always fun. If you have a different way of getting your starting sensitivity, please post it in the comments down below to help others. And if you learn anything in this video, give it a like to let me know, and then hit the subscribe and notification button so you don't miss when new videos come out. If you're looking to stay up to date in all things Star Wars, check out my partners over at StarWarsGaming.net. There's a link in the description down below. Let's get into what you guys clicked on this video for. And that's how to set your sensitivity and where you should have it at. The short answer is to select a sensitivity that you feel comfortable with and are able to control your camera well. Boom! Video over. I'm kidding, of course. So let's take a little closer look and get more detailed to get you dialed in. First, if you're currently at a sensitivity that you do have struggle to control, you need to turn it down a little bit, and for the rest of us, you can leave it where you start. Next, we're going to load into an arcade match, and it's going to be a custom duel, which will put you into a split screen on Tatooine. The reason for the duel is so that there are no NPCs running around, and you'll be free to do as much testing as you'd like without anyone shooting at you. After you're loaded in, select the weapon of your choice. I personally prefer a single fire weapon so that if I overshoot or if I undershoot, I can hit the wall to show where I was. Then you'll need to find a random droid or humanoid target that's going to be stationary. You can use the other player since you're on a split screen. However, you'll need to make sure that your aim assist is turned off for this drill to work properly. There's one droid over by the cantina on Tatooine that you can use, and that's the map that I tend to load in, since there's several of them around this map. Now that we found our target dummy, you'll want to place your crosshairs a little to the right, not too far, since we're going to just be working on getting our sensitivity set for small movements and quick reactions. Place the crosshairs at chest level, and the goal here is just to move the crosshairs horizontally without moving them vertically. You'll want to count down from 3, and then snap as fast as you can to the target's chest in one smooth movement. Once you release pressure on the sticks, you need to release it completely to see where you end up. You'll want to do this around 10 times for each sensitivity. Since it's not going to be perfect, sometimes you're going to be too far, other times you're going to be too short, and that's regardless of what your sensitivity is currently set at. The goal is to be on target at least half the time. If you overshoot more than half the time and you have to move the sticks back to the right to get on target, your sensitivity is too high! So you need to decrease it by 5% and then try again and decrease it by 5% until you're no longer overshooting the target. If you tried to snap to the target and you undershoot more than half the time, that is that you didn't move far enough to the left, then you had to make a second adjustment. Your sensitivity is too low. You need to increase it by 5% until you're no longer undershooting the target. Once you've flipped from overshooting half the time to undershooting half the time, you'll want to make 1 to 2% adjustments until you're on target half the time. Again, no one is going to be able to do this perfectly unless you're a pro player, and even then this isn't a science, it's more of just a drill. Once you can get on target quickly without having to readjust, that is where you should start your sensitivity. From here, come up with a schedule to slowly increase it over time if you're on the lower end of the spectrum. I'd say if you're below 60%. You don't want to increase the sensitivity at the start or end of any play session though, since after the adjustment, you'll want to play a little bit before you get off just to be familiar with your current sensitivity settings. Once you make the adjustment and you play a little more, you'll eventually get used to the increased speed, and you'll notice some higher kill games since your reaction time should increase with this as well. For these increases, I do a 5% movement usually after 1 hour of consistent gameplay. If that feels like it's too much for you, it's fine just to do even a 1% move, And it's okay to even increase it for as long as you like. If you want to do 2 hours, 3 hours, that's fine. Generally, I find my play sessions to be about an hour and a half. So after each hour of consistently playing, making that movement will help give me another 30 minutes to get used to the current sensitivity, and then another hour to get used to it again before I increase it another time. You could, however, go the complete opposite way if you really want to hate your life for a little while, and you could put your sensitivity up really high and then struggle through. You probably won't do well, and you'll probably get super frustrated, but you could do that as well if you want to get used to a certain sensitivity quickly. I do not recommend this method. I normally never use this method. I always tend to increase it slowly over time, regardless of the game that I'm playing. You will need to do this for your zoom sensitivity as well, since the zoom sensitivity is on a separate slider. Most of the time, zoom sensitivity is going to be lower than your normal sensitivity, since when you zoom in, smaller movements become much more important, and even a small movement will have a big effect on your crosshair positioning. Generally, I leave this around 50%, so since I try to get my crosshairs on target before I zoom in, that way I don't need to make as many adjustments while I'm zoomed, and when I do need to make adjustments, they're very, very small. This is probably one of the main reasons why I don't like sniping in this game, or any game really, and since I tend to be not ADS when I initially track the target, and then aim down sights once I do have the target generally in my crosshairs. If you're sniping, however, you're generally going to be aimed down sights a lot more, so you'll probably want this a little bit higher since you'll need to make smaller movements a lot quicker. Another thing you can use to help get dialed in is your dead zone. Dead zone is the amount of area you can move the sticks before an action is taken. The higher it is, the more you have to move the sticks before the action occurs. On the other side, the lower it is, the less you need to move the sticks before the action occurs. This is a setting that exists since your hands are not perfectly still. So if you shake a little bit, or if you're in the proper gaming position and your knees shake a little bit, it won't affect your game. I prefer less movement required before an action, so I lowered mine to 10%, making smaller movements produce action. This setting is in most games, and it's not always going to be the same. So on Battlefront, I'm at 10%. If we go over to Rainbow Six Siege, I'm at 7% horizontal and 12% vertical. This is something that you'll probably need to adjust in every single game. If you feel like you're having to move the sticks too much, make sure to lower it a little bit, and that may help. On the reverse, if you're a twitchy person and you drink too much caffeine, you may need to increase the dead zone to stop it from moving your crosshairs. The final setting that we need to take a look at is in the gameplay menu, and that's your crosshair color. You want to make sure that you can see the crosshairs at all times. The default is white, but that can get hard for most people to see, and Battlefront 2 offers several different colors for you to choose from. I would stay away from green and red, since those are generally colors used to mark teammates, friendlies, or enemies, and things like that. In this game, blue is also used as friendly. Personally, I use yellow so that it's easy for me to see and it doesn't blend into any maps, especially the snow maps where you can easily lose the white crosshairs. Again, there are a ton of colors to choose from, so choose whatever suits you best. I prefer the brighter colors, so again, yellow is where I land. For this episode of Can I Get Up There?, we're going to give you a flanking route on Camino. This is for the droids and allows you to go behind the clones on the left-hand side towards Phase 2 while you're still on Phase 1 without having to worry too much about a firefight. The only time you'll get shot at is if someone is sniping and looks up, which is extremely rare on this phase, or a spawn wave comes in. So you'll want to leave the spawn and go outside to the left, and then from there, instead of going down the stairs, you can jump on the ledge and walk around the wall. This puts you on the level with no doors or paths to bring you back into the objective. There is a far wall blocking the clones from looking at you, and so you'll want to run over to that far wall, jump over the ledge, and you'll be back behind the clones for a sweet flank. You can use this on Phase 2 for sniping as well. A lot of times people won't look up since it's rare someone's up here. I hope you guys learned something here, and if you did, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in game.
I don't know how.
See this? That's your voice.
Oh.
So when you talk, it'll produce a voice. Do you want to say something? Say, I love you, Mom.
I love you, Mom.